I'm Adam Marino.
And I'm Mike Marino. That's right, we're related.
We are two cousins talking music and how it relates to us.
And why it should relate to you.
This is How It's Related. Welcome in. Guess what day it is? It's Wednesday. Carlos Mencia. Yeah, I know. I get it. We're all over him. I get it. But he had his 15 seconds or minutes. But
that was like his catchphrase, no? Or
yeah,
like the only thing that made people laugh.
I thought the Mind of Mencia on Comedy Central back in the day was clever, and I thought he was funny. If you want to talk about, all right, let's get into this side note. If you want to talk about comedians stealing jokes, that's only been going on since the dawn of time. There's a video out there that shows like Seinfeld stealing from, and you think of like Seinfeld as like, and then these people, and then who's the guy that was canceled and now is back, had the show on FX, its first name C something, not John C. Reilly, Louis C.K. So he has admitted he's stolen, like he doesn't care if someone steals his. It's about delivery, it's about timing, it's about tweaking how, like,
take that. Okay, my cringe came from like delete the fact that he's stolen jokes.
Okay.
It was terrible. It was like not
you didn't like the show
remotely fun. I think I saw it once and I was like, I saw clips of his stand-up. I'm like,
not for him.
Okay.
I thought he was okay. It wasn't like as terrible as what you're thinking to me, but I get I get it. But he was like kind of his thing.
Yeah.
Ding, fries are done.
That's just not. That's from Family Guy. That's from Family.
Fries are done.
Yeah. Ding, fries are done.
Oh.
But anyway.
So it is
Carlos Mencia. Who cares?
Yeah. It is a Wednesday. It is time for How It's Related, the show in which two cousins who are obviously related.
Clearly.
Right in the face. Or the nose, we should say.
It's the nose. If you zoom
the nose
way
plays.
in, you'll be like, I
Please
see it.
Don't.
There it is.
Don't
zoom in. Zoom out. In fact, never look at this again.
Yeah. But yes, the two cousins come together talking how music relates to us and why it should relate to you.
I talk
and
talk to you.
Sometimes we text and we're like, oh, what about this? So I want to get into this and start from there.
This sounds familiar. Yep.
Now, this could be an entire episode. I will try to not have it be so.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about albums / artists, what have you, that were incredibly ahead of their time. And if we don't start with this album, I will, like, a vein in my forehead.
You have to.
Like, you kind of, and here's the number one thing that I'll say, and I want to see if that would be the first thing that comes to mind for you, or what would first come to your mind. So the first thing that comes to mind is, this isn't the type of show, to be honest, where we could just play through the entire thing, but I want to get to this real quick. Here's the end of, in case you didn't catch in the 2 seconds, that this is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band from the Beatles. This came out obviously in the 60s. So take a look here. So this is the end. Right here's the end when I say now. Now. That was the end. Wait a minute. It just keeps going. Oh, that's nice. Not Ringo's voice. That is not nice. But dude, come on. The way that flowed, heavenly.
Are you talking about there's no like cut in them? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So now this song Here's the end. It kind of there's a basically a pause, but like, oh my gosh. Okay, we know this is Lucy in the Sky with diamonds, and let's fast forward to the end. Oh, this is so great. So, yeah, we're fading out, and like, I love it, but it's just very. Let's see. This used to be the Magnavox commercial for like a decade.
Magnavox.
It doesn't even like exist anymore. But yeah, okay song. Like, but I'll just say, like, I just feel like this album is one where it's only maybe 35 minutes or so long, the entire album, but it's literally you don't have to. When I listen to Spotify, I do sometimes hit next, not because I'm not saying next like I don't like this song next. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's some gap where I'm like, oh, if I'm just walking with my phone, I'll just hit next so I can get to the next song right away, because microwave society, I can't wait the 6 seconds. I need it now.
Microwave society, yeah.
That's what we're in, right? So, but that's where I just feel like when they bleed songs like that, there wasn't, that to me, there's a lot of ways that the Beatles revolutionized music. They were the first band to have a music video. They also did movies in which the soundtrack was the movie. Help and Hard Day's Night. That's genius. Can you imagine now if like Bush had a movie come out called 16 Stone and they were just like,
I wouldn't watch that.
just making up something.
Yeah.
Like, that would be crazy. You think people, like, I think of our pal Nikki in California, because I just saw on my feed recently that No Doubt's coming to the Sphere and in Vegas, and she is still all about No Doubt. She has been for 30 years. She still obsesses over Gwen, and not that I think that's weird, Nikki, at all, but I tagged her and was like, oh, are we going to the Sphere? And like, if No Doubt had a movie out called, what was the one with the Blue album one? With the where they're holding the orange
Tragic
or whatever?
Kingdom?
Yeah. So if they made a movie called Tragic Kingdom, you can't tell me it wouldn't make millions of dollars. Like, there's so many fans that would see that, you know?
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is the Beatles did that multiple times, and that's fascinating to me, you know? So I just
hadn't been done at that point.
Yeah.
I would think.
No. So
for you, Sgt. Pepper was ahead of its time because of the tape effects in between songs
and just all the different sounds that they played with. And like, the Beatles were the first also that I know of, you correct me if you've heard other knowledge, but they were the first band to on accident have reverb or feedback, and then like, oh no, let's can that, let's use it, and I Feel Fine, that beginning of that song is not supposed to be that way. They like, oh no, that sounds good, let's leave it in.
Yeah.
And like, but that wouldn't be something a band does even today, you know, necessarily.
Yeah, that's what I think happens when you're writing an album in the studio versus coming into the studio with an album finished and go, let's record these songs.
You
know what I mean?
That's a great point. I never, not once thought about that.
This is me spitballing. I don't know. I'm assuming they did that because they recorded albums, everybody live in a room, set up, mic'd and everything, and what you hear is them playing as a band.
They're thinking through it. There's footage. There's very famous footage from Let It Be, where the band basically breaks up, and they didn't know that was going to happen, but they had cameras rolling, and they're literally, okay, you play this. No, shift to E. Sorry. No, I mean G. and they're like literally writing the song.
You sound just like him.
Naturally.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay. I'm not disagreeing with you at all, because that was, my first thing on this topic. It comes to mind because the Beatles did it many times where they made stuff. I wouldn't say I wasn't alive back then. I don't know if you know that, but like when they first came out and they were the pop rock group, more pop than anything. Was that ahead of its time, or was that on brand for the time and they just were a big breakout thing?
I know it's tough because like Herman's Hermits was around.
There's stuff. And the Monkees was maybe before that. Maybe?
Well,
I don't know. Again, I wasn't around. But anyway, what I'm saying is the criteria that makes something ahead of its time, does it like start a genre or start a revolution? Does it give way to something? Or is it the first of its kind that stood alone, and then years later there was a big trend about that? Because I guess maybe I'm saying the same thing in different words.
The Beatles were first, by the way.
Before the Monkees?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Monkees were not a real group.
Right. They were created, and they were created in 1965.
They're just as big, I would say. Pretty close.
That's fair.
As far as the big,
the Beatles were already a well-oiled machine of international success by 1965, and that's when, the Monkees came into existence.
Rolling Stones too, right?
So, also interesting trivia is that the idea for the Monkees was directly inspired by the success of the 1964 film Hard Day's Night.
Yeah.
So
what an idea. Yeah.
So,
and that idea was probably
a fictional band using the Beatles' popularity as a template. That's so hello, by definition right there, you have to say that the Beatles are revolutionary if they literally are the reason why, and the Monkees absolutely are revered, and not even say they shouldn't be. They were great for putting it together. You think of Diddy, not the bad stuff, but when Diddy put together these bands in the 90s, he was doing the same thing. He was trying to like just make these girl bands, just make them go, and they always had 2 hits. They always had at least 2, and then they kind of like fell off or whatever, but he was trying to be revolutionary.
That was just a glimpse into what the music industry had been doing for a really long time anyway.
Oh, yeah. Because like, Backstreet Boys and
it was just,
and before that.
Well, and, you're just trying to... You see dollar signs over good music, whatever. Just you're trying to make the formula work. You're making paper airplanes and you're just throwing them.
Slap it up there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, like, nothing new. It's just, maybe that became like more... You see it happening, I guess, with the whole Sean Combs thing. I remember that stuff too, like the band and all that.
Yeah.
Isn't that where like Dylon and stuff came from? Rum pum ting.
Dylon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I spit when I rhyme. I rhyme when I spit.
Yeah. So kind of piggybacking on that, it's hard to say, like, because I want to name stuff that's just you wouldn't think of, but you have to take the Beatles being ahead of their time, sparking a hard left turn, inspiring musicians. And one of those groups that I argue is inspired by the Beatles, which I'm sure they would tell you, is Pink Floyd, who then did it themselves, and then
their own way,
and then they they steer the ship further or whatever. They were groundbreaking in a lot of ways.
Drugs helps.
I'm sure it does. And because you're talking about like all the tape effects and the kind of one contiguous song with no breaks, like there, The Wall did that. Dark Side of the Moon did. They were doing that, and that's totally Beatles inspired. I don't think it's a secret or anything, but. So that's kind of, this is what I'm kind of saying all of this to say, like, what is the criteria for something being ahead of its time? Is being ahead of its time and being groundbreaking the same? Is it, you know what I mean? Is Nirvana being ahead of their time? Because Nirvana wasn't really ahead of their time. They were just the big one. You know what I mean? Of anything, I would argue that Pixies' Doolittle is what started all of that 90s alternative stuff.
So, yeah, I want to, at some point, rap has to come into it. And I feel like, is this, I don't know, this would be my vote if I had a vote, that Sugar Hill Gang made, like, we know rap not as this at all now. Like, it's come all different ways now.
Yeah.
Because this is just like groove. And it's like, but like rap does not sound like this now.
No, this sounds silly to me. You know? Just
Like
by
Will-
comparison.
Like,
but
oh,
that,
Will Smith.
yeah, I mean, the first thing
See, it's
you have
groovy.
to, yeah, you, oh, yeah. It's all, you know, sampled stuff. So, yeah, that is the question. Something that no one has ever heard before, that is just a you know, what do they call it? A tent pole, just like
Yeah. Lay the flag.
what?
Foundation.
Because I would say that was the first of anything even remotely close to that, right?
I mean, someone not singing, but having full verses and just
Yeah.
talking, but making it sound cool.
But then,
That's
okay, then another argument in the same vein. I don't know why. I don't like that this is coming to my head, but so rock music and heavy metal had existed for a long time, and then Korn released their first album, and there was nothing that even was close to, like, you don't even see, oh, I see where they got their influence. No, that was like a whole different thing. But that whole thing already existed. Being in a band and playing guitars, it already was a thing.
yeah.
Rap groups weren't a thing. Like, you see what I'm saying? So is Sugar Hill, you know, ahead of their time? Is Korn ahead of their time? Is Pixies ahead of their time?
Yeah.
Was Beatles, is it all ahead of its time? Is that? I
Isn't
suppose.
that fair to say?
Yeah.
Are you trying to hold it close and say,
I'm trying to,
no,
like, see, well, what?
there's only two ever that
No,
like,
there's definitely, that's not what I'm
but you
I'm
don't want to
trying
give
do.
it
I'm
out
just
like candy either.
Yeah,
don't wanna,
because
like,
there's all the normal
you
arguments.
get a revolutionary.
yeah.
You get a revolutionary.
Beatles is the obvious argument. Pixies, for some, is the obvious argument, like the blatantly obvious argument. You know, Kurt saying, "We just want to be the Pixies," like that. I'm like, where are we drawing the line? But there doesn't have to be a line. Let's just get rid of the line.
Like, yeah.
And like hip hop stuff, yeah, okay. Sugar Hill, it's so funny. I think we talked about this before, but you hear that and you're like, ugh. It's like watching
not rap.
It's like watching a movie from the 40s and no one knows how to act.
Right.
And like,
and
this
you're
is
just
the
like,
greatest.
Yeah,
All right.
and you're like, okay.
Come on.
Well, okay. At what point do you say
That had to exist for what we have now. It had to.
for Rakim and for LL Cool J
Yeah.
and for Run DMC and the early 80s and getting into the mid 80s and then
Yeah.
NWA and Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre revolutionized
Yep.
rap. Wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Just from the way that his mind internalized beats and sampling. Look, sampling is like, it's almost like if you look up the definition of rap, I feel like it should say sampling beats are used in which you don't sing a song. That's rap. Like, the word sampling almost should be in there. Like, that was kind of the idea. I get making your own beat and whatever, but like, I feel like back in the day, sampling was part of it. It's because it was putting a twist on, hey, this old song from the 40s,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that, put a different beat to it, and
That's my instrument. Yeah.
and that was rap. Now, I'm not saying that if you're Drake, you can't have something new. You can't have Timbaland create you a beat. I'm not saying that. But back in those days, Dr. Dre that was his instrument, right? I mean, so
yeah, you hear things and other things. I mean, it's the same. Hearing a song and getting inspired to write a song, it's the same thing. You hear that, go, oh, that would be,
yeah.
if it was this, and there's no difference. Yeah, people like poo-poo that sometimes. Like,
Here's
that's
the
not
difference.
really taint.
Here's the difference. A song like with that he did with Snoop, it might be verified as the #1 rap song of all time. Is the next episode or
Still Dre?
No. I'm way before that.
Nothing But a G Thing.
Yes, Nothing But a G Thing. So that is sampled, the keyboard, and what I'm saying is that might be known that that's sampled, and then he does the piano, the Still Dre or Still DRE, and if people don't know that's a sample, they just internalize it as that was a sample. Ooh, this is a fresh beat. Where he might have been sampling this whole time, but because people just don't, it's not as recognizable.
You don't know.
That happens all the time. There might be songs by Drake that we listen to that we don't even realize are sampled.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we just...
Well, there's stuff, pitch changes. You manipulate things like crazy.
Yeah.
I will say, though, just to pop your bubble, because it gives me joy, the Still Dre, dling, 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 is Scott Storch. Do you know who that is? He's a producer. That's him. He wrote that.
So
and sold it.
So on that one, it was a fresh beat.
Yeah.
Okay. So
you never know.
Yeah. But for every one of those, I guarantee you, there's 5 other songs made by Dre where you think that's a fresh beat, and there was actually a sample. That's the point. But I mean, that's cool that because that's pretty epic. Like, you could just play a few notes of that and people go like, oh yeah. Like, they just,
I have to throw in a band that flew under the radar just to kind of derail what we were talking about, but they have to be mentioned on this episode just for me to sleep at night. There's a band called Refused. 1998, they released an album, The Shape of Punk to Come, or something like that. They had one song that's been used a million times. You've probably heard it because I think it was in a sports movie. That thing that they did, that album that they put out, became a huge thing 10 years later, and they kind of just flew under the radar. They were just, classic, again, of people in the know, it's an obvious. Refused? So play New Noise.
Okay. So this is The Shape of Punk to Come.
Yeah.
But
if you play
New Noise,
that's the song that you might know them from, yeah.
Okay. So here is the song that Michael, he loves to be called that, so I like to call him that sometimes. It brings him joy. This is the song that he's talking about.
Was this in a sports movie?
So far, I can't tell you. I don't know it.
Like Varsity Blues or something, or Friday Night Fever. Saturday Night Lights.
You're saying in maybe like the credits or something, or are you saying?
I don't know. I just had that in my head that this was like in some mainstream.
Wouldn't that be funny
movie.
if you thought the whole time and like it wasn't?
Yeah, it wasn't. This band doesn't even exist.
Yeah. No, I do not know. I have no idea what this is. I mean, it's different and it's cool.
98, right?
I don't know. I just pulled up. I typed in The Shape of Punk to Come, and then Refused came up, and I just hit play. It doesn't say the year or anything. But stuff like that, I mean, is...
Because it, again, loud, aggressive music existed, but not quite like that. Not at all like that. And, maybe not quite 10 years later, that was what they did was the fad of the time. And they're,
Here's what I want to know. here's some random.
Have
Like-
you ever seen the rain?
Who was the first one to have, like your piano type ballads? Like Billy Joel and Elton John have famous ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm seeing like
I'm not sure
February
I'm not sure
19th.
what you're asking.
I'm seeing February 1970 Simon and Garfunkel. Because that's revolutionary.
Yeah.
What was the first, like, who had the thought to, I mean, you could say Hey Jude and those type, but like, I don't know. I just feel Elton John, Billy Joel, those type of piano ballads are just a little bit different. But maybe it is a song like Hey Jude. That's a great piano ballad, is it not?
That kind of gave birth to all that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, did they
What else would there be?
That's what I'm like. Did they
Because
revolutionize
those guys,
that too?
like Elton John, would say it's Little Richard, and it's guys like that.
But Little Richard was all about quit, right? That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, not necessarily, but I see what you're saying because it wasn't in the exact same vein as what you're talking about.
Yeah, the slow ballad.
But
Like,
I'm sure Elton John was inspired by the Beatles, and Elton John and the Beatles were inspired by like Little Richard and stuff like that. Like that's. So then, do we go back further and say that Little Richard was the one? It's like a never-ending,
right.
the song that never ends.
And then you ask Little Richard, and he would say, "Oh, there was a guy, Mike
Yeah.
Moses." Like,
Yeah,
like
Joppy Filibuster.
1917, he had a song that, it's like, who's
Yeah.
to know? But
The Woolite commercial.
so, anyone else that jumps off the page? to you?
Pixies, yeah, like I was in a comment thread on Reddit reading, and somebody made a great argument, which it was a disappointing for like music snobs, but Ciara
Two-Step.
Goodies,
Or yeah,
that album was ahead of its time for the blending of like kind of old school R&B with the electro synth dancey stuff that was starting to kind of take shape. And,
I
I mean,
mean-
I see it.
I mean,
It was
what's
very
let me ask you this: what's the counter argument? Who can say no? That's wrong.
you can probably grab a handful of stuff that sounded similar at the time, but
And it was as popular.
no, I don't know.
Okay, there
I
you
don't
go.
know.
Done.
I mean, what was that? 2005, 2004, maybe.
So,
Good.
who
That
was-
was like 1-2 Step and O and I don't know any of the other songs.
Dude, you got a point.
That's a great
And
point.
it's almost like funny, like, okay,
See, wait, then you think of it
whatever.
like,
But then
oh,
you're
you know
like,
what? But you'd have to give it up to the producer of that album. No offense to Ciara, great singer, great dancer.
right,
I don't think she wrote those songs.
no,
I'm gonna go ahead and say she didn't
right.
write those songs.
right.
Yeah, and this is just can become an endless conversation. I mean, could you say like New Order or like Tears for Fears or something like that for like the electro pop stuff in the 80s? Could you say the Strokes' first album started that whole like leather jacket indie rock thing of the 2000s? Because it kind of did,
Huh.
There's so many that you can think of, but do they qualify? Do they qualify to you? Some of them you can't just, you have to hand the ones that are obvious, but like, because this.
Sierra and the Strokes. Those are ones where it's like, but there is some arguments to be made.
I mean, you can make this argument for a lot of things. So, is it happening now is a bigger question.
So here's one.
Is it happening now?
Here's one.
Okay.
Billie Eilish. Is she kind of just doing different things that you're like, okay? At first, I thought she was trying to be like Miley. Then I'm like, you know what? She's trying to be Billie. She's trying.
She
to
is
be her
trying to be
own,
Billie.
like, and I can respect that.
I can too, and yeah, for all
I don't like
intents and
every
purposes,
song,
yeah.
but I certainly do like about 4 at least.
Here's the counter argument to that, though, is that alternative pop thing,
Do you like Miley was
Lana Del Rey was the first. Born to Die came out, and I think
So
Lords, whatever that one, maybe a year or so later. Maybe they're about the same time.
Lords is great.
Yeah. But that, I mean, I think they're next door neighbors. I think that is the birth of what we're hearing with Billie Eilish and stuff.
Fiona Apple, Alanis Morissette.
So there you go. Again,
They
although you could call that not pop. You could call those not pop. Alanis is very pop, but still, it was kind of the writing on the tail end of the grunge thing. Alanis's Jagged Little Pill.
great. I mean, great album. That album. Yeah. Talk about albums ahead of their time. I mean,
it was unique.
so
it was
good.
very on brand for
And
the time, though.
and it holds up.
Yeah,
It absolutely holds up.
I think Jagged Little Pill was very unique, and it's kind of its own thing, but it was very much in a very safe. Let's make some grunge sounding
But it was good.
I know, but it wasn't like,
We gotta
what
thank,
the hell is this? It was like, oh, you know,
we gotta thank Dave Coulier.
cut it out.
If he wouldn't have messed with that young woman's mind, we would not have that album. That's funny when he's ever on a podcast, like talking about it. Like, it's just hilarious. You're like, what? It doesn't like remember the first time you ever heard that story
Yeah.
where you're like, false.
What?
You're like, I'm going right to Reddit.
My first thought was like, oh no, he's way too old for. No, they're like the same age.
No.
No,
She was 17 turning 18 and he was almost
39.
Yeah, it's bad. It was bad.
Oh,
But it's crazy.
can't park there, bud.
Yeah. So
It goes on and on, but it's a good.
It does. Let us know in the comments if we have blatantly missed one. I would love to hear about it, or if we were so false on like the Strokes or something like that, because that's a discussion. Like, okay, well, what's the argument then? If you're saying the Strokes weren't the ones to like get that ball rolling, okay, you can't just say no. Who is, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that is a never ending. We might do like another episode like where we have to continued or a different way to do more of these, because we can come up with certain genres then. I mean, this was just kind of opening the can. I don't know. Once you get like 50 episodes into something, you're like, all right. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We never know what goes on side in our.
I never know what's going on, ever.
We just know. We'll see you next week.
No.
Okay, so if you happen to like this episode, please tell a friend.
And if you didn't like this episode, please tell nobody.
Be sure to like and subscribe on Apple and Spotify and, of course, YouTube.
Follow us on social media as the links are in the show notes.
Remember to check out our next episode where we will tell you how it's related.